this week's best MMA bets. We're talking UFC 274, Bellator 280, and PFL number 3. Three pretty solid cards to talk about. We'll look at the pure betting side of each of them. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn those post notifications on and share the video as well. We'll start it off with the locks. We'll start with UFC locks first, and then we'll jump to Bellator and PFL. So let's get into the UFC to start things off here. Lock number 1 for the UFC on my end that I'm feeling pretty confident about is going to be our main event, champion of the world, Charles Oliveira. I'm going to pick him over Justin Gaethje. I know it's a scary lock, and it's a fight that I do think is going to be scary to watch. There's definitely a chance Gaethje hurts Oliveira early, but I believe Charles Oliveira weathers this storm, wins the fight. I'm predicting him by submission. As far as the odds, minus 163 for Oliveira. Justin Gaethje plus 165, plus 160 now at best value. The line just shifted on me. You'll find it around that range. I like the chances for Charles Oliveira to win. I think that it's definitely not going distance here. Fight doesn't go the distance. The line is minus 350. Now, as far as Oliveira, the submission prop is where I would lean you if you're looking to prop it up, plus 150 for that. If you like under 2.5 rounds, it's minus 145. I think this fight's under 2.5 rounds. I see it getting done in the first 3, and I do think we're going to go under 2.5. I like Oliveira. I like the Oliveira sub prop at minus 163. Is not a bad value money line bet. Champion of the world defends the belt against a game Justin Gaethje on the opposite side. Now, the next lock of the night. I like Michael Chandler over Tony Ferguson a ton here. But I'm not suggesting to you guys to go out and jump on the money line. Minus 351 for Chandler, Ferguson plus 309. I want to include Tony Ferguson as a live dog always, and in a sense he is, but I look at this as just a bad matchup, and we have to accept Ferguson slowed. Unless he proves me wrong here, I don't believe I am wrong. I'm going Chandler for the win fairly confidently. Fight does not go the distance. Minus 165. I don't even think that's the truth there. I think the best play to look at as far as this matchup, over 1.5 rounds. Minus 150. I have a feeling Michael Chandler may engage in the brawl a bit, but he's going to find moments of patience and calm. He's going to win this fight by a decision. I'm predicting him to get it done. Distance, Michael Chandler to beat Tony Ferguson. It's minus 150 for that tag. I like win by decision for Chandler. That's plus 250 as well. The money line's ugly, around that minus 350 range. It's even upwards of minus 400. More of a parlay piece, but if you're attacking it heavy, you could go the money line. The over 1.5, I think, is where the cash is going to be made here. Let's keep running through these locks for the UFC. I think the next lock of the night has got to be Ovince St. Preux against Shogun Rua. I know Ovince St. Preux hasn't looked good, but he's still been competitive in fights. Shogun's been out for a while. To me, he looks lackluster on the feet. There seems to be a obvious slow as far as the stand-up game. I think Ovince St. Preux, having the knockout win in the past, still isn't going to get overzealous for the KO, but I do expect him to find the chin. Ovince St. Preux, minus 233. I like his chances to beat Shogun at plus 206 as a dog. Ovince St. Preux wins by knockout. The value of that is plus 200. I do think he gets it done by a KO against the aging Shogun Rua. I don't really like the over-unders a ton here. I think this fight is live to end at any moment, really. And I think that the Ovince St. Preux side getting his hand raised. Let's keep running. Next lock, Cowboy Cerrone. He's going to win the fight. I loved his media day interview. I love what he was saying. You know, he's fighting for his son here. There's a lot of pressure. And you know what? He's being thrown a guy that's been out for a long time, Joe Lauzon, bouncing back. You know, he has the win over Jonathan Pierce that he retired with. Now takes a fight that makes sense to come out of retirement for. This is a legend versus legend matchup, and I think Cowboy Cerrone prevails in a violent battle. Minus 169 money line Cerrone. Lauzon plus 161. Cerrone hasn't looked bad at 155. Granted, it's been some time since he was there. Yes, the Alex Morono fight, he was starched, but Morono's a hard hitter and an awkward kickboxer who's pretty damn good on the feet. Joe Lauzon, Lightweight, veteran of the game, long layoff. I think Cowboy Cerrone can win the fight. I think it's very competitive in the stand-up, but I do think Cerrone's going to get his fair share of punches in. I feel like Joe Lauzon is tricky standing, but on the floor, I see Cerrone with the better wrestling of the two. Lauzon definitely has a tricky submission game, but I think if Cerrone's there on the floor, he's known for his jiu-jitsu as well. He might be the better grappler. He might get a submission. I don't like a method in this fight of victory. I think Cerrone's going to win. I've been torn on method of victory, leaning Cerrone by TKO, but I can also definitely see Cerrone winning a decision. Over a round and a half, minus 145, I think's likely here, but it depends on the pace Lauzon comes out with, because he might come out guns blazing. Cerrone's going to have to start somewhat fast. I kind of have a feeling Cerrone doesn't look great in the first 2 minutes and then starts to put it together. I'm going Cerrone for the win. I'll pick him here as a lock. I'm confident he gets it done, but it's a scary lock being two older guys facing off. I got to go with the Cerrone side still, and I'm confident in it, man. I think that he's going to get it done, and I like, picking these more established fighters as favorites. The next lock of the night, Fialho over Cameron VanCamp, Andre Fialho. Ugly line, minus 333, VanCamp plus 336. I think Fialho gets the win. I think he gets the win in the first 2 rounds. As of right now, I'm only seeing Fialho inside distance available. But inside distance for Fialho, minus 145. I'll assume the knockout prop is going to be around the minus 115 range. I think Fialho's winning by knockout in the first or second round. VanCamp's going to look to grapple. I feel like Fialho's got the jiu-jitsu on the floor. I think he's got the takedown defense to keep it standing, and the striking differential is clear here. I think Fialho, with the hands, gets it done. Win by knockout. Confident pick, and one that I'm looking forward to. Now, the final lock for the UFC is a debuting guy. It's Clayton Rodriguez. I think he wins a decision over CJ Vergara. Clayton is a minus 275 favorite. Vergara, the plus 294 underdog. I like minus 275, not a ton, but he's still a valuable pick and a confident one. I think stylistically, he's a hard matchup for Vergara, who's more boxing-based. Clayton mixes it up with, all of the 8 limbs extremely well. I think decision win for Clayton here. Could potentially get a stop, but I'm thinking Rodriguez by decision plus 163. I don't really love touching that decision line. I'd rather go Clayton, maybe money line Clayton, potentially even just over 1.5 at minus 220. Clayton's a parlay piece. He's one that I'll throw on more of a long shot. But if you're looking for more established guys, that could be a scary bet. But I think stylistically, he matches up well with the side of Carlos Vergara, who's more known for just heavy boxing attack. And he's got good head movement, definitely. But I think the kicks of Clayton leads him to victory. Now, I am going to jump to Bellator. You guys know my take on betting Bellator. Be very intelligent here. Don't attack stupid underdogs that aren't going to cash. Don't attack early prelim fighters that have not an established resume. I'm going to go through the locks of Bellator, and the first lock is going to be an obvious one. I think it's a cross parlay piece. It's Ryan Bader. I think he's going to destroy Cheick Kongo. I think he's going to win by knockout in the first 3 rounds, maybe the first 2. I think ground and pound, Kongo's not going to be able to stop the takedowns, but Bader's minus 361 is a favorite. Kongo, the plus 340 dog. I don't think there's a huge chance for Cheick Kongo to get an upset here. I'd say extremely low. Let's see if they have the Bader knockout prop released anywhere, because Ryan Bader right now, inside of the distance for Bader, is minus 115. I'm assuming the knockout prop is a little bit better than that, maybe plus 100. I would touch the knockout prop because it's going to happen. I think he's going to stop Cheick Kongo on the floor, but Bader is an extremely confident pick, an established guy. When you're betting Bellator, when you're betting PFL, outside of the UFC, pick established fighters that have long runs, even if it's just in Bellator, but they have a lot of experience towards the upper echelon of the Bellator divisions. Definitely Ryan Bader is that guy. World champion, former double champ. Bader for the win, and I think he gets it done. And I'm going knockout on it too. Now, the next lock for Bellator, I like the side of Lorenz Larkin. He's minus 310 as the favorite here. And Kyle Stewart has no shot. Stewart's lacking on the kickboxing. I feel like compared to Larkin, he's much slower standing. I think the explosiveness for Larkin is a huge factor. Larkin's a capable grappler as well if Stewart looks to get it there. I think Lorenz Larkin outpoints Kyle Stewart on a decision. Minus 310, so he's definitely more of the parlay piece or a heavy money line touch. Not my favorite play, but he's a lock. Fight goes over around and a half, minus 260. Larkin to win by decision, plus 140. I do think Larkin wins by decision. He gets a lot of decisions. Majority of his wins throughout Bellator is winning a lot of decisions. And he's not a chinny guy either. He can take a shot. Larkin decision, minus 310. He beats Kyle Stewart here. I think that's a pretty solid potential bet to place for you. Now, the next lock for Bellator, Cerrone Bach. But the odds are hideous. Minus 650 for Cerrone Bach. Charlie Leary is not an easy fight. He can strike, but Cerrone Bach's gonna out-grapple him for 3 rounds. I'm going Bach for the win, minus 650. I'm not really thinking about touching the line. If you want a long shot it with a parlay, go right ahead. Over a round and a half, minus 310. Over 2.5, minus 180. I definitely think there's a chance that Cerrone Bach gets a sub, but Leary's game is hell. But on the floor, he's going to be clearly outmatched. His best shot is keeping it standing. He's not going to be able to stop the takedown. Cerrone Bach for the win. He's a guy to keep an eye on in Bellator 100%. And he's established, a pretty good resume. Win over Paddy Pimblett as well. I like Cerrone Bach a lot here. The next of the Bellator locks, and it's an ugly one again, but Davy Gallone is going to destroy Benjamin Brander. It's not going to be close. Minus 515. Gallone's a fairly established guy. Brander is not. Plus 375, the dog is Brander. He's not a live dog, and he's not one that I would throw down on if you're looking to attack dogs. I think that Gallone is going to win this fight via submission. Gallone inside distance, minus 145. We don't have the sub prop available, but I'm assuming it'll be plus money. And I like the sub prop for the Davy Gallone side, but definitely could see him winning a dominant decision or even getting a TKO on the floor. Gallone for the win, extremely confident at minus 515. Now, as you look through this Bellator card and you're considering placing, some close bets towards the prelim side, just be cautious, man. There's always possibility that you have a great pick that's going to come through for you, but some of these guys not as well established, not necessarily huge fighters to back financially here. I mean, Pedro Carvalho's going to probably get a lot of people interested, close money with Piotr, but personally, I'm staying away from it. Don't like it. I feel like we're going to see a pretty entertaining Bellator card nonetheless on Friday, and I like the locks that I've given to you guys. We'll jump back to Bellator for the dog section, but it's time to hit PFL, the Professional Fighters League. This is the third card of 2022, the regular season. The lock at the top is Kayla Harrison, minus 2,960. You're not playing the line. There's no reason to. She's not going to lose, but there's nothing there. There's nothing to gain there. Under 2.5 rounds, minus 390. It's your best bet. Kayla Harrison inside of the distance, minus 435. There's nothing there. Minus 390. Harrison's going to win. She's probably going to get a finish over Marina Makanatakina. Hard last name to say. Jesus. But I like Kayla Harrison getting it done. I think she's dominant. I'll lean you the submission side for Harrison at plus 180. But she definitely might get a KO, TKO, minus 145. That inside distance is unplayable. Under 2.5, minus 390 might be your best place to put your money. The next lock for PFL, I think Ray Cooper III is got this fight against Carlos Lil Miranda. Wasn't super impressed with what I saw from Miranda on the tape. Okay, grappling game, decent pressure kickboxing, but I think Ray Cooper III is at another level right now. He's looked phenomenal in the PFL, and I think he's a problem. He's minus 407. Maybe a parlay piece if you're looking for PFL parlay pieces. Think he gets a finish here. Under 2.5 rounds is plus 120, plus 125. I like Ray Cooper III inside of the distance at plus 160. I don't love it, but I do like it. And I think that there is a legitimate chance that it comes through for you. Now, the next PFL lock that I can feel fairly good about is going to be towards the side of Rory MacDonald. He's fighting an older guy in Brett Cooper. If you remember him fighting Kendall Grove on the old days, Spike TV, Bellator days, way back. I think that Rory MacDonald should outpoint him and win the fight. Method of victory is wish-washy for me. MacDonald hasn't looked great, but he is minus 389. At the worst, he should win a unanimous decision. So I'm not loving touching any of the lines here. Over a round and a half, minus 165, I think is pretty likely. I'll pick MacDonald decision plus 200, but he might get the finish as well. I like Rory a lot. Extremely confident that he gets it done. He definitely should get it done over Brett Cooper. It shouldn't be competitive. Now, the next of the locks for the for the PFL side is going to be Julia Budd over Jenna Fabian. Fabian's a good kickboxer. She brings that Adesanya flair. but she's not at that same level. I think Bud is going to look to grapple early in this fight, and I think she's going to be successful. Minus 200, Fabian plus 180. I like Julia Budd to win. I think decision here by Julia Budd. I mean, she hasn't looked great as of recent, but I still think she should win this matchup against a much less experienced fighter, especially more of a pure kickboxing game, whereas Budd can do it all fairly well. Minus 200 for Julia Budd. I'm predicting her win by decision, though. The win by decision for Julia Budd's side is plus 150 for that. I would say that has to be, considered a lock. Now, this next lock, I don't love. It's Anthony Pettis over Miles Price. Price is 100% not at the striking level of prime Anthony Pettis, but Pettis is on a losing streak right now. He hasn't looked great throughout his PFL run. He hasn't really looked too good. I mean, granted, not like he's losing to terrible guys, Manfio, and losing to Cassius Clay Collard, who's a damn good striker. He should beat a guy like Miles Price. And you know what? Minus 239 for Pettis in this matchup might actually be a pretty fair tag. Plus 211 for Miles Price. It's hard for me to pick Pettis by knockout. I'm not really going to touch the method of victory side. I think he could get the KO. It's plus 325, but I'll have no surprise if Pettis wins. Competitive and a little bit of an outpointing kickboxing class here. Plus 115 over Miles Price. I like a money line, though. Minus 239. I think Anthony Pettis gets it done. And I got some pretty strong confidence towards that side. I think he should get it. I also think Magomed Karadov should beat Joa Zarfarino. The odds are so wide, though. Minus 437. He's a lock, but he's not a favorable lock. He's not a line that I love. Minus 437. I think he wins a decision, maybe. Over 1.5, minus 260 if you need a prop there. Personally, I don't want to touch it. Could be more of a PFL parlay piece. You look through, there's some other bets. Maybe you could play like a Pacheco, but the odd minus 670, not worth your time. Tebow and Jarrah Hussein. Hussein should probably get it done there, but I don't want to include him in the locks. Abigail Montez, who beat Clarissa Shields versus Helena Kalinsnik. I think high confidence pick there. She probably gets it done. I'm picking her, but don't really love betting on that fight. Minus 259. She's not a super experienced girl. Overall, be smart with your bets on the side of, PFL, Bellator, of course, even UFC, but be very cautious here. Be very cautious here. Those are the locks across all three of the organizations. I am going to run back towards the UFC, and we'll talk about some underdogs that I think have some fair possibility there. And then I'll jump towards Bellator and PFL as well. So make sure you smash the hell out of the like button. Dog number 1 for the UFC. I'm picking Journey Newsom to beat Fernie Garcia. Plus 130 for Journey. Fernie, minus 141. I think the chances are we're going long, 3 rounds, competitive striking match. Over a round and a half, minus 280. I think over 2.5, minus 160. Be a nerve-wracking play because Newsom was badly knocked out recently, but I still think he gets it done on a decision. Newsom by decision, plus 280. I prefer the money line, plus 130 if you're looking to play Journey Newsom as a live underdog. The next one, Melissa Gatto at plus 140. Tracy Cortez, minus 137. I think Gatto has a pretty good chance to win this fight, but it's not an easy matchup. Cortez, more of that wrestling-heavy game. I think Gatto definitely is more of a finisher. I'm picking Gatto to win. I do think she's going to get a decision here. I feel like the over 2.5, minus 210, no matter what side you're on, is a pretty solid play. Gatto to win by decision, plus 300. She's got some finishing ability for sure, and her jiu-jitsu on the ground is dangerous, but I do think Tracy Cortez is a hard matchup. Still got Gatto to win it, though. Competitive fight, plus 140. With the UFC dogs this week, I would say be cautious and pick the ones you love. The next one I'm going to bring up is not a pick, but it's a stylistic matchup that the underdog play makes a lot of sense. Carla Esparza, plus 190. I'm riding Namajunas for the win. But it's not an easy fight. If Esparza can get the takedowns going, she's a very good bet. Definitely something to look at live here. Plus 190 for Carla Esparza. Rose Namajunas, the minus 201 favorite. I like plus money on Carla Esparza if you need a dog to play and you got a bit of confidence in her. Now, I do think this fight's probably going at least 3 rounds. I'm feeling like I picked Rose stoppage in the 3rd, but I also could see it going 5. It's not an extreme confident pick towards Rose. Of course, she wasn't included in the lock section, so that's why. If you're on the Esparza side, you want to touch a dog this week that has a legit chance. It's a good horse to play. It's a value dog bet. Even if you're not picking that side as a winner, there's still a lot of value in picking the side as a better. Now, betting this fight, do you go Esparza to win by decision plus 260? Because if she is to win, I see her winning a decision. Very hard for me to see her beating the shit out of Rose on the ground and TKOing her. It's not impossible. She did it to Yan Xiaonan in the last one, but Rose Namajunas is another level. Esparza, live underdog, might be worth a touch, especially for, a weekend pack with some crazy ass fights. I think that might be a pretty decent dog play. If you do like Tony Ferguson, I do got to bring him up in the dog section because he's a legend. I don't blame you for going for him at plus 309. But the likelihood of him winning for me is low, but I have to just touch upon it for a second and talk about the chance of a prop of Tony Ferguson to win via submission. It's about plus 1320. If Ferguson gets Chandler tired, he could find a way to lock it up. Ferguson is not the pick, though. Chandler is a confident pick, but I have to bring up Ferguson as a live underdog in a sense because I know a lot of people are on him, too. He's a legend of the game. We want to talk Ferguson just a little bit. Let's jump towards the Bellator side. Bellator 280. I looked through this card for a dog worth maybe backing, but I don't want to say it's a pick. This is my guy. Alex Polizzi is somebody that has come through for me more times than not in Bellator. He's one of my guys in Bellator that I always include, whether he's a favorite or a dog. I like to talk about him on the betting side because he's an extremely consistent fighter. Can wrestle his ass off, high-paced guy, tough as nails. He's fighting an old Yoel Romero at minus 152, Romero being the favorite. Polizzi, plus 155, best value underdog. I'm not saying there's a guarantee that Polizzi beats Romero, but there's a live chance here. And if you want a horse to back in Bellator as an underdog with a legitimate fighting chance, I know he's taken on short notice, but he stays in shape. Polizzi's got to be my guy. I won't go against him because he's done great things for me in the past. Alex Polizzi as a live underdog, plus 155. I do think there's a live chance Romero wins the fight. Stylistically, you want to pick Romero. But I feel like Alex Polizzi can surprise a lot of people here. Polizzi's the betting side. Polizzi for the win. I will say it will be a decision if he gets it done, plus 275. But straight money line, plus 155 dog attack is not a bad idea. I like Alex Polizzi for the win. And it's a fight that I actually am super amped to see because we get to see Romero. And Polizzi gets his Rocky Balboa shot here. I'm going with the Rocky Balboa in this fight over the long-time top contender, Yoel Romero. We have to go towards it. Plus 155, underdog, Alex Easy Polizzi. Now, I do want to jump towards PFL and look at a little bit of the dog side, but I'm really not feeling a ton of it, to be 100% honest here. I feel like the one dog you got to talk about a little bit, Sabito Sai, Nikolai Alekshin. Their first fight ended in a no contest. Sai is a very rangy striker. He's a long guy. And if he can defend the takedowns of Alekshin, he's got a fighting shot. Plus 125. The odds are not wide enough for me to really love a bet here, but it's an underdog that I'm going to give the respect to and bring up at plus 125. If he is to win, how does he get it done? Maybe a knockout. Could also see it going long, so I don't like the prop. Sai by knockout is plus 500. Sai by decision plus 250. But Sai money line plus 125 is the dog play. That's the that's the PFL dog attack. We're talking about so many cards. I got myself mix and matching them here. There's going to be some other dogs that probably come through, but no horse that I want to back in the PFL race as far as underdogs outside of Sabito Sai, who's a pretty consistent fighter, trains alongside Khamzat Chimaev a lot of the time. I got to give the guy some serious respect, and I think he can beat Alekshin in this rematch. He had moments in the first one. Sabito Sai, final dog of the week. Now, we have to go towards the prop section. As you know, I like to bring up a prop section, which I really just consider is more of the extra. The fights we didn't talk about, but I still want to talk the betting side of it. Make sure you smash the likes too. Brandon Royval by submission. I have to bring this one up. As far as money line, he's minus 235. It's not an easy fight with Matt Schnell at plus 225 as a dog. Royval's a finisher, man. Royval inside distance plus 100. Royval by submission plus 225. I like Brandon Royval to win by submission here. I'm thinking club and sub. So if you want to go inside distance to be on the safer side, plus 100. But Royval by submission plus 225. Not a bad touch if you're looking for a potential play He definitely could also get the knockout too. I guess I have to bring out the knockout prop as well. But the one that I have written down that I really wanted to talk about was that sub. But if you have to go knockout, I'll throw it up real quick. Win by knockout is plus 445 for Brandon Royval. I think he's sub Schnell. I don't know about a knockout here. I expect a damn great fight between those two. I'm actually super excited for that matchup. The next one is going to be Dumont Chiasson over 2.5 rounds. I don't like the money line touch on either side for this one. Minus 218 favorite Dumont. She's the pick. Macy Chiasson plus 198 as the dog. She's always a live underdog. It's not a fight that I really love the betting side. Outside of over 2.5, minus 235. If you need an over, you want to parlay something up and add it, I do think there's a pretty good shot that this fight's going a bit long here. Now, the next of the over-unders, Carnelossi and Lupita Godinez. I think Godinez is going to win the fight. Carnelossi is a very strong live underdog. She's a beast. Minus 167, Godinez the favorite. Plus 163, Carnelossi the underdog. But you want to touch towards, playing something that isn't a straight pick here. Maybe you're on the Carnelossi dog side. I don't know. Maybe you are. Minus 270 over 2.5 rounds, I think, is a favorable play. Or Godinez by decision, plus 105. But I don't love it, especially at only plus 105. The next one is going to be the side of Chaos Williams. Minus 112 as the favorite. Brown plus 110. I'm not talking about the money line here. We have to talk just Chaos Williams to win by a knockout. The guy's got the death touch, and if he lands, it's over. Plus 185. Brown's a guy that fights with his hands low. He's good from distance, but I think Chaos eventually finds a shot. Plus 185, Chaos Williams, win by KO. And then the next one we'll talk about here is going to be Marcos Hajiria de Lima, Blagoy Ivanov. I'm picking Ivanov to win, but I wanted to mention de Lima by KO because he hits hard and he's throwing 100% power. Ivanov's been out for a bit and he hasn't looked great. And let's be honest, it's heavyweight. One big shot lands, it could be fight over. Plus 350 for de Lima. Now, if you're on the opposite side, the prediction side maybe, or you're on the side of betting Ivanov, he's plus 175 inside of the distance. He's got a shot for a sub at plus 555 as well. Don't love it. Ivanov to win by KO TKO plus 375. It gets crazy here because I'm telling you each and every side, but I just want to give a betting perspective on this Ivanov-De Lima fight. There's a chance for a knockout on the De Lima side, but definitely I feel as though Ivanov should wear on De Lima and win the fight, either decision or a late stoppage. Overall, the UFC has some pretty decent prop bets to potentially play here. If you look towards the prop side of Bellator and PFL, I'll be 100% honest, there's nothing that I really want to mention. There's nothing there that I'm like, hey, this is the prop that I really want to touch that we haven't already talked about. So the UFC is really the home of the prop section here where we dive it deeper because you guys know I like to keep it cautious on the PFL and Bellator organizations. It's just how you got to be. You got to play it smart. Overall, though, I feel like this card is a pretty solid card to bet. Prop side, too. I feel like there's definitely some money to be made. And I think we're in store for a fantastic weekend. But let's jump to the parlays. Let's talk some potential plays for the UFC, Bellator, PFL. We might cross parlay some things. I'm definitely going towards the confident picks if I'm lining up with fighters from Bellator. I'm going to first start you off with the cross play of the week. It's going to be Ryan Bader. You're going to cross play that. I'm going to honestly skip through PFL for now and just ride it with, if we can find him here, champion of the world. Do they not? This is the problem with best fight odds. You can't find the champ half the time. Oliveira. Look at this. Oliveira Gaethje all the way down here. Minus 114 for Bader and Oliveira. I think these are two great main event picks. Like a safer cross play if you're looking for one. I like it at minus 114, but of course, the Oliveira fight might be a sweater for some of you guys. You might be shitting your pants throughout this matchup, and I wouldn't blame you for it. And not wanting to bet it is understandable, but man, I'm feeling good about it. I'm having great feelings about Oliveira all week long. If you want to add more UFC fighters, a little more juice to the sales, I think Andre Fialho is extremely live in this spot, and I do think he's going to get the win. I'm thinking stoppage. Maybe you skip on OSP. maybe I add Michael Chandler plus 195. A lot of people won't want to be playing that. They're going to be on the T-Ferg side. But I think this is a 4-fighter live parlay that definitely has some real possibility of coming through. I feel like for me, this week is going to be really more of a money line attack week or some over-unders. As far as the parlays, could get us into a bit of trouble this weekend. Clayton Rodriguez, another confident guy, plus 283. I think Bader's somebody you can staple in because I just think the shot of Congo beating him in his late 40s at this point, very low. Ryan Bader looked phenomenal turning it around, coming back. Now, if you're like, listen, I want more. I don't care about risk. I want to add fighters in. Okay. I don't want to do it, but Anthony Pettis should really beat Miles Price. Plus 436. You want Rory MacDonald as well, plus 562. This right here is the Wild Man Cross Parlay. I'm not suggesting any of you guys touch this, but if you're looking to really hit it hard with some attacks of guys that should come through, I don't know why I feel like Pettis is going to be the spoiler here. I think everybody else comes through and then Pettis takes the L. Plus 718. I'm rooting for Pettis hard. I'm picking him to win the fight. But with Anthony Pettis, you know where he's at right now. This is not prime Pettis. Plus 718 for this wild ass cross parlay that you could potentially do. I want to just keep things UFC specific for a minute and focus on that. So I am going to add Oliveira to my line and then just go pure UFC side betting, because I feel like that's where we're going to play it safer. Minus 111, Oliveira, Andre Fialho. I like it here. I feel like you can add in maybe, an over for this Dumont and Chiasson fight, over 2.5 rounds. Minus 250 brings you to plus 166. I do think there's a high likelihood that fight's going the distance. Oliveira, Fialho, and over 2.5. Dumont, Chiasson is a solid play. If you want to sleep and skip on the side of Fialho, I won't hate the idea of it. I mean, at the end of the day, early fight on the night, little bit more risk. You add Clayton in, another early one though, plus 177. I still like the touch though. I still have a good feeling about Clayton Rodriguez here. But I want to add security. Like I want to give you guys like a really secure one. I feel like Michael Chandler, plus 170, over 2.5 with Chiasson, Dumont, and then Oliveira, minus 190, Chandler, minus 380. It equals plus 170. If you want to add OSP towards the top of the line, plus 282. I don't hate that either. Is there any over-under that I also wanted to add in here? Let me quickly check the side notes here. Carnelosi and Lupi, over 2.5 rounds. If you really want to go nuts and add in some more, and we're focusing mainly on UFC, plus 424 for that attack right there. I think that's a pretty solid play with, I'm not going to call safety, but more safe than others. Now, if you want to go nuts and add everything in, plus 746, adding in Fialho, Clayton Rodriguez, plus 746 is like the wild man parlay of the week. 2 or 3 fighters max, especially this weekend, guys. Be very cautious. If you're doing these big plays, throw light money at it. I don't want to see anybody get burned too hard on an unfortunate heavy dog style attack. As you know, with the UFC this weekend, it's danger zone. There's going to be some of you playing Carla Esparza. If you wanted to just juice the line with something plus 2,228 just to throw like a wild shot in the dark, maybe that one comes through. But I personally don't love it. Stay safe with your parlays, guys. Stick with, more so money lines, dog attacks. If you want to cross parlay a few, be cautious. Bader's a great addition if you're looking for somebody outside of the UFC with okay value. Overall, this weekend, we got some fantastic fights. I'll be live for the full UFC card on Saturday, so tune in to that Fight Companion. It's going to be a blast. Make sure to smash the hell out of the like button. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's best MMA bets. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Share the video. Subscribe if you're new. And honestly, if you don't have anything to say in the comments, but you really just enjoy the content, throw a W in the live chat to help pump that algorithm. Much love, my people, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, guys.